The galaxy had one rule. Humans were gone. For 200 years, every star system believed the same thing. Humans had destroyed themselves. Their ships were lost. Their worlds were silent. Their names slowly turned into a myth, then into a warning. No one survives their own chaos, the elders used to say. At the center of the galaxy stood the Galactic throne. A massive system filled with power, guarded by hundreds of warships from different alien races. It was the heart of order. Nothing entered without permission. Nothing left without being watched. Everything was under control. At least, that's what they thought. Admiral Kareth stood on the command deck of the flagship. His sharp eyes moved across the glowing screens. Reports were normal. Patrol routes were clear. Trade ships were moving safely. It was a quiet day. Too quiet. Then suddenly, a low hum filled the room. One of the officers froze. "Sir, sensors are glitching." Kareth turned slowly. "Glitching? Fix it." "We are trying, sir, but this is not normal." The lights flickered once. Then again. The hum grew louder. Every screen began to shake. Lines of data started breaking apart like they were being pulled into something invisible. "Report." Kareth's voice was sharp now. Another officer spoke, fear clear in his tone. "Something is distorting space near the outer defense line." Kareth stepped forward. "Show me." The main screen changed. At first, nothing was there. Just empty space. Dark and silent. Then, the darkness moved. Like a shadow bending reality itself. "No ship is detected," the system said. "That's impossible," Kareth whispered. The shadow grew larger. Space around it twisted like water. Signals failed. Long-range scanners went blind. "Unknown energy spike," someone shouted. "Shields up." Kareth ordered instantly. All around the throne system, hundreds of ships powered their defenses. Weapons activated. Targeting systems searched for a lock. But there was nothing to lock onto. Only that, growing distortion. Seconds felt like minutes. Then suddenly, everything went silent. The hum stopped. The screens cleared. And something appeared. A ship. It was massive. Larger than anything in the fleet. Its surface was dark, almost black, like it was made from the void itself. No lights. No markings. No visible weapons. It just floated there. Watching. A cold feeling spread across the room. "Identify that ship," Kareth said. The system paused. Then answered. "No match found." "That's not possible," an officer said softly. "Every species is registered." Kareth's jaw tightened. "Scan it again." "We are scanning, but it's like the ship is not fully there." "What do you mean?" "It is here, but also not here." Silence filled the command deck. Then a new alert appeared. "Unknown signal detected." "From the ship?" Kareth asked. "Yes, sir, but we cannot decode it." "Try harder." "We are trying, but the signal is too advanced." Kareth stared at the screen. That ship had entered the most protected system in the galaxy, without a sound, without a warning. And no one could stop it. "No weapons fired," an officer said. "No movement," another added. "It's just watching us." Kareth felt something he had not felt in years. Fear. "Send a warning," he ordered. "Tell them they are in restricted space." The message was sent. Seconds passed. No response. The ship did not move. Then suddenly, every screen flashed. The unknown signal changed. This time, it formed into words. Clear. Simple. Ancient. Caratha's eyes widened as he read them. Message translated. The room held its breath. And then, the words appeared. We see you. A chill ran through everyone. That language, one officer whispered. It's old, very old. Caratha's voice dropped. Say it. The officer hesitated. Then spoke. It matches, human records. Silence. No one moved. No one spoke. Carath stared at the dark ship on the screen. His hands slowly clenched. That is not possible, someone said. They are extinct, another added. Carath took a slow breath. His eyes never left the ship. No, he said quietly. They are not. The room turned cold. And far outside, the human warship remained still. Waiting. The command deck stayed silent. No one moved. No one even breathed too loud. The word human echoed in every mind like a warning from the past. Admiral Carath kept his eyes on the dark ship. It did not change position. It did not show power. It did not act like any known warship. It simply stayed there, calm, and watching. Run full historical match, Carath ordered quietly. The officer nodded quickly. His hands shook as he worked. Seconds later, old records appeared on the main screen. Dusty files. Forgotten logs. Stories many believed were just myths. They called humans, unstable, the officer said. Highly adaptive. Extremely dangerous. Another officer added, they had no fixed strategy. They changed in the middle of battle. Carath remembered the stories now. Humans were not the strongest. Not the fastest. But they were the most unpredictable. And that made them the most feared. They destroyed entire fleets with tactics no one understood, the officer continued. Then, suddenly, they vanished. Not vanished, Carath said slowly. They were pushed. The room turned toward him. Caratha's voice grew heavy. The early empire saw them as a threat. Too chaotic. Too free. So they attacked human colonies, one by one. A deep silence followed. No official record says that, someone whispered. Carath gave a cold look. Official records lie. Before anyone could speak again, alarms screamed across the ship. System breach. Defense grid failing. What? How? Carath shouted. We are not under attack. Then what is happening? The officer stared at his screen in shock. The human ship, it is inside our systems. That's impossible, Carath snapped. We have quantum firewalls. Not anymore, the officer said, pale. They bypassed everything, instantly. Across the entire throne system, ships began to lose control. Weapons shut down. Engines slowed. Communication lines broke. No damage detected, another officer reported. Nothing is destroyed. Then why are we losing control? Carath demanded. The answer came slowly. It is not attacking us. It is rewriting us. Those words hit harder than any weapon. Carath felt the ground shift under him. The human ship was not using force. It was using control. On the main screen, new data started appearing. Lines of code. Unknown symbols. Then slowly, it formed into readable text. They are sending something again, the officer said. Put it on screen, Carath ordered. The message appeared. Short. Cold. Clear. You built your empire, on our ashes. No one spoke. No one dared to. Caratha's mind raced. This was not a random encounter. This was not a lost ship. This was planned. They know us, he said quietly. They remember. Outside, one of the outer defense ships suddenly powered down completely. It drifted in space like it had lost its soul. No explosion, the officer said. No damage, just shut down. Then another ship followed. And another. Like lights turning off, one by one. Panic spread through the fleet. "Admiral, we need to attack now," someone shouted. "With what?" Kareth replied sharply. "Our weapons are dead." The room fell silent again. For the first time, the galactic throne was helpless. Kareth looked back at the human ship. Still no movement. Still no weapons. Still no fear. Only control. "They are showing us something," Kareth said slowly. "What do you mean?" "They could destroy us already," he said. "But they are not." "Then what are they doing?" Kareth's eyes narrowed. "They are making us feel it." "Feel what?" Kareth's voice dropped to a whisper. "Fear." At that exact moment, every system on the flagship went dark. Total silence. No lights. No sound. Just darkness. Then, one single screen turned on. Only one. Right in front of Kareth. The same message appeared again. But this time, one more line was added. "We are not here to ask." A long pause. Then the final words appeared. "We are here to remind." Kareth felt his heart slow down. This was no longer a mystery. This was a return. And far beyond fear, something worse was coming. Darkness did not last long. The lights on the flagship slowly returned. Systems rebooted one by one. Screens came back online, but something felt different. Everything was slower. Restricted. Controlled. Admiral Kareth stood still. His hands were behind his back, but his mind was racing. "Status," he said calmly. The officers checked their panels. "We have partial control," one said. "But, weapons are still locked." "Navigation is limited," another added. "We cannot move freely." Kareth nodded slowly. "They are letting us function, just enough." No one argued. Outside, the massive human warship still floated in silence. It had not fired. It had not moved. But it had already defeated the entire fleet. "Admiral," a young officer spoke carefully, "should we attempt a coordinated strike?" Kareth did not answer immediately. His eyes remained fixed on the enemy ship. "They want us to try," he finally said. The room fell quiet. "They are waiting for it," he continued. "They want to show us something." Before anyone could respond, a loud signal echoed across all ships in the system. A command. Not from Kareth. Not from the throne. But from the human warship. Every screen displayed the same message. Permission granted. Confusion spread instantly. "Permission, for what?" an officer asked. Then suddenly, weapons unlocked. Across the fleet, every cannon, every missile system, every energy weapon came back online. "Admiral," someone shouted. "We have full weapon control." Kareth's eyes widened slightly. "They unlocked it," he said under his breath. The same message appeared again. "Show us your strength." Silence filled the room. This was not a battle. This was a test. Kareth took a deep breath. "All ships, prepare to fire," he ordered. His voice was steady, but inside, he felt the weight of the moment. If they did nothing, they would look weak. If they attacked, they might prove the enemy right. "On my command," Kareth said. Hundreds of ships locked their targets on the human warship. For the first time, the throne system aimed all its power at one single target. Fire. The galaxy lit up. Beams of energy, waves of plasma, missiles moving faster than light, all of it rushed toward the dark ship. It was enough firepower to destroy a planet. The officers watched closely. Waiting. Hoping. But something strange happened. The attacks did not hit. They slowed down. Right before reaching the human ship, every weapon stopped. Frozen. Like time itself had paused. "What is happening?" someone whispered. Kareth stepped closer to the screen. The energy blasts hung in space, glowing like stars caught in a trap. "They stopped it," an officer said. "No," Kareth replied slowly. "They allowed it." Then, with a small movement, everything changed. The human ship emitted a soft pulse. No sound. No flash. Just a wave. And in 1 second, every attack disappeared. Not deflected. Not blocked. Gone. Like it never existed. Silence filled the command deck again. "No impact, no explosion," the officer said, voice shaking. "All attacks, erased." Karetha's face turned cold. "They didn't defend," he said. "They removed the threat." Outside, the fleet stood still. Powerful ships, now looking small. Weak. Then, the human ship moved. Just a little. The first movement since it arrived. A low glow formed along its surface. Energy buildup detected, an officer shouted. "Brace," someone yelled. But Kareth raised his hand. "Wait." The ship was not charging like normal weapons. There was no heat. No radiation spike. Just a calm, focused energy. Like it was choosing carefully. "Target locked," the system said. "On which ship?" Kareth asked. The answer came. "Not a ship, a sector." Karetha's eyes widened. "No." Before he could say anything else, the human ship fired. A single beam. Thin. Silent. It moved across space like a line of light. Then, it touched the fleet. And everything in that sector vanished. No explosion. No debris. No sound. Just empty space. Thousands of ships. Gone. Like they were never there. The command deck froze. No one spoke. No one moved. Kareth stared at the empty space on the screen. His voice came out slowly. "One shot." No one answered. They didn't need to. The message was clear. The human warship did not come to fight. It came to prove that no one could. No one on the command deck spoke. The empty sector stayed on the screen. No debris. No signal. No life. Just silence. Admiral Kareth felt something heavy settle inside him. Not fear this time, something deeper. Understanding. "They chose that sector," he said quietly. An officer looked at him. "Chosen, how?" Kareth pointed at the data. "Old patrol routes. That area was once a human colony zone, 200 years ago." The room grew colder. "They remember everything," someone whispered. Before Kareth could respond, the main screen changed again. The human ship was sending another message. But this time, it was not just words. It was data. Old recordings. Broken transmissions. History. "Play it," Kareth ordered. The screen flickered. A new image appeared. A blue planet. Bright. Alive. Full of cities. "This is human territory," an officer said. Then the image changed. Warships filled the sky. Not human ships. Empire ships. Weapons charging. The officers on the deck shifted uncomfortably. "No official record shows this," one said. Kareth did not look away. "Because it was erased," he replied. The recording continued. Energy beams fell from the sky. Cities burned. Entire continents turned dark. Signals of panic echoed through the audio. Evacuation failed. We are losing atmosphere. Help us. Then, silence. The planet turned black. Dead. The screen went dark for a moment. No one moved. No one dared to speak. Then another image appeared. More worlds. More destruction. Colony after colony, wiped out. System after system, erased. This was not war, an officer said slowly. This was, removal. Caratha's hands clenched tighter. The Empire called it peace, he said. But it was fear. The recording stopped. The screen returned to the present. The human warship still floated there. Silent. Watching. Another message appeared. Short. Heavy. You feared what you could not control. The words stayed on the screen. No one could deny them. The truth was clear now. Humans were not extinct. They were erased. Or at least, someone tried to erase them. They survived, an officer said. Carath nodded slowly. Not just survived. They evolved. As if responding to his words, the human ship changed again. Its surface shifted slightly. Not opening. Not transforming. Just, revealing. New structures appeared along its body. Strange designs. Not aggressive, but powerful. They were hiding this, someone whispered. Carath stepped forward. They were watching, he corrected. Another message appeared. You called us chaos. A pause. Then another line. You taught us order. The meaning hit harder than any weapon. Humans had learned. Adapted. Become something new. Stronger. Colder. More precise. They are not here for revenge, one officer said, almost hopefully. Carath did not answer. He kept reading the screen. The next line appeared slowly. We are here for balance. The room went still again. Balance. That word carried weight. It was not anger. Not forgiveness. Something else. Something final. Outside, more ships in the fleet began to shut down. Not destroyed. Not attacked. Just, turned off. Like they were being removed from control. They are taking over the system, an officer said. No, Carath replied quietly. They are taking back control. The human ship moved again. This time, closer. Not fast. Not aggressive. Just enough to remind everyone, it could. Every sensor tracked it. Every eye watched it. But no one tried to stop it. Because now, they understood. Resistance was pointless. Carath looked at the dark ship one last time. His voice was low. What do they want? As if answering him directly, the final message appeared. We do not seek your throne. A long pause. Then the last line. We decide who deserves it. Carath felt the weight of those words. The galactic throne, the symbol of power for centuries, was no longer in control. And for the first time, it had to answer to someone else. The humans had returned. Not as survivors. Not as victims. But as judges. The command deck felt smaller now. Not because the space had changed, but because power had. The galactic throne, once untouchable, now stood silent before a single ship. Admiral Carath looked around the room. His officers waited for orders, but for the first time, he had none to give. What options do we have? One officer asked quietly. No one answered. Because everyone already knew. None. The human warship floated closer. Not fast. Not threatening. But every movement carried weight. Every second it stayed, tightened the pressure. They are inside every system, the tech officer said. We cannot lock them out. We cannot track them fully. It is like, they are part of the system now. Kareth nodded slowly. They are not invading, he said. They already arrived. A new signal appeared. Not forced. Not hidden. Open. Incoming transmission, the officer said. Audio, not text. Kareth straightened. Play it. For a moment, there was only static. Then, a voice. Calm. Controlled. Human. We will speak once. The entire fleet listened. No interruptions. No commands. Just silence. You built an empire from fear, the voice continued. You saw difference, and called it danger. Kareth felt each word like a weight. You erased what you did not understand. The screen showed nothing. No face. No figure. Only that voice, steady and cold. But you failed. A pause. Long enough to feel uncomfortable. We are still here. Kareth stepped forward slightly. His voice was low, but firm. What do you want? For a moment, nothing answered. Then the voice returned. Correction. Kareth frowned. Correction, of what? Of balance. The word echoed again. Balance. But now, it felt different. Final. Across the fleet, more ships powered down. Systems shut off one by one. No explosions. No resistance. Just silence. They are removing control from us, an officer said. No, Kareth replied. They are removing control from those who abused it. The human voice spoke again. You ruled without consequence. Another pause. That ends now. Kareth took a slow breath. This is not justice, he said. It is control. The answer came instantly. Yes. No anger. No hesitation. Just truth. Kareth looked at the screen, then at his officers. They were waiting. Hoping. But hope was fading fast. What happens to us? He asked. This time, the pause was longer. Long enough to feel like judgment. Then the answer came. You will continue. Confusion spread across the room. Continue, an officer repeated. Yes, the voice said. But not as rulers. Kareth's eyes narrowed. Then what are we? The final answer came. Observers. Silence followed. The meaning was clear. The empire would not fall. But it would never lead again. Power had shifted. Forever. Outside, the human warship began to glow softly. Not like before. This was different. Calm. Stable. Like it had finished its purpose. Energy levels stabilizing, the officer reported. No weapon charge detected. Kareth watched carefully. Are they leaving? Someone asked. No, Kareth said slowly. They don't need to leave. The ship slowly faded. Not moving. Not jumping. Just, disappearing. Like it was never fully there to begin with. Within seconds, it was gone. No signal. No trace. Nothing. The system was quiet again. But it was not the same. It would never be the same. Control panels returned to normal. Weapons unlocked. Navigation restored. But no one celebrated. Because everyone knew the truth. They were no longer in charge. Kareth looked at the empty space where the ship once was. His voice was barely above a whisper. They were never gone. No one answered. Far beyond the throne system, something unseen watched. Not with anger. Not with mercy. But with purpose. And across the galaxy, systems began to change. Quietly. Slowly. Carefully. Because somewhere in the dark, humanity had returned. Not to rule. Not to destroy. But to decide. And this time, no one would forget.